The date, October 29th, 2025, has long been whispered among spiritual seekers as a cosmic milestone, a vibrational threshold that humanity would one day cross. What makes this date significant is not that the world will end, but rather that a profound energetic shift will occur, one that will separate consciousness based on resonance rather than judgment. This separation is not a physical event, but a spiritual bifurcation, what ancient texts called the winnowing. Those who have cultivated higher frequencies of compassion, truth, and service will naturally ascend to a new octave of existence, while those anchored in fear, materialism, and separation consciousness will experience a very different reality. Both will occupy the same physical space, yet exist in parallel vibrational dimensions. Edgar once spoke of this moment during his deepest trance states, referring to it as the great dividing of waters. Null. He described seeing humanity standing at a cosmic crossroads, where each soul would naturally gravitate toward its chosen vibrational home. This was never meant as prophecy of doom, but rather as a spiritual milestone, the natural culmination of thousands of years of consciousness evolution. What makes the 3Iatlas event different from other prophesied moments is its internal nature. Unlike external catastrophes or physical pole shifts, this transformation occurs primarily within the subtle energy fields that interpenetrate human consciousness. The 3I refers to the internal illumination initiative, a cosmic trigger point that activates dormant spiritual DNA and crystalline structures within the human energy field. The shift begins with a subtle change in Earth's base resonance. For decades, the Schumann resonance, Earth's electromagnetic heartbeat, has been steadily rising, creating a vibrational environment that increasingly supports higher states of consciousness. When this frequency reaches a certain threshold, it triggers what spiritual scientists call a phase transition in human awareness. Those who have been doing their inner work, clearing emotional trauma, facing shadow aspects, practicing compassion, and expanding consciousness, will find themselves naturally attuned to this new frequency. Their transition will feel like a homecoming, a release, an expansion into greater wholeness. The world around them will appear more vibrant, more connected, more alive with possibility and meaning. For those whose consciousness remains anchored in fear, judgment, materialism, and separation thinking, the experience will be quite different. As the Earth's vibration continues to rise, the dissonance between their personal frequency and the planetary frequency will create increasing tension, manifesting as anxiety, confusion, and a sense that the world is becoming more chaotic and threatening. This is not punishment, it is simply resonance physics operating at the level of consciousness. Like tuning forks that either vibrate together or remain silent based on their inherent frequency, human consciousness will naturally sort itself according to vibrational compatibility. The 3Iatlas event represents a culmination point in this process, a moment when the vibrational gap becomes so pronounced that two distinct experiential realities emerge. Some spiritual teachers have described this as a timeline split, where groups of souls continue their journey along different evolutionary paths based on their vibrational signature. What makes this particularly significant is that, unlike previous evolutionary transitions that happened gradually over generations, this shift occurs within a single lifetime, allowing souls to consciously choose their vibrational trajectory. This represents an unprecedented opportunity for spiritual growth and conscious evolution. The preparations for this transition are not external, but internal. They involve cultivating states of being that resonate with the emerging frequencies: unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, and service to the whole. These aren't merely nice spiritual concepts, but actual vibrational states that align one's energy field with the rising planetary frequency. Many who have been sensitive to energy have already been experiencing preliminary waves of this transition. Symptoms often include heightened sensitivity to disharmony, profound emotional clearing, inability to tolerate inauthenticity, spontaneous awakenings of intuitive abilities, altered perception of time, and a deepening sense of connection to all living things. What we are witnessing is nothing less than the birth of a new human, Homo Luminous, a being whose consciousness operates primarily from heart-centered awareness, rather than ego-based fear. This evolutionary leap has been prophesied across cultures and traditions, from the Hopi emergence into the fifth world, to the Vedic transition from Kali Yuga to Satya Yuga. The Atlas component of this event refers to the realignment of Earth's spiritual axis, a shift in the planetary light grid that supports human consciousness. Ancient mystery schools taught that certain celestial alignments create energetic gateways that facilitate quantum jumps in awareness. October 29, 2025, represents such an alignment, a moment when cosmic forces converge to support humanity's collective initiation. Does this mean we should fear this date? Absolutely not. For those who have been consciously participating in their spiritual evolution, it represents a graduation, a celebration, a fulfillment of soul purpose. The fear exists only for the ego that resists transformation and clings to outdated patterns of separation. The 3Iatlas event represents more than just an energetic shift. It initiates what spiritual teachings have described as the Great Mirror, or the internal illumination interface. This phenomenon occurs when cosmic energies intensify to such a degree that they penetrate the veils of illusion each soul has constructed around itself. What follows is an unprecedented moment of clarity, where each being sees themselves as they truly are, without the protective filters of ego or self-deception. This illumination process isn't comfortable for many, as it brings to surface all that has been hidden in the shadow aspects of consciousness. Across spiritual traditions, this process has been symbolized in various ways. The Christian concept of revelation, literally an unveiling, the Buddhist confrontation with Mara, representing delusion, or the Egyptian weighing of the heart against the feather of truth. In each tradition, the soul must face itself honestly before ascending to higher states of being. The polarization of consciousness we're witnessing globally is a direct result of this intensifying mirror effect. As the 3I energies increase, souls are being naturally sorted according to their vibrational signature, not by external judgment, but through resonance mechanics operating at quantum levels of reality. This explains the unprecedented division we see manifesting in all aspects of human society, from politics to religion to interpersonal relationships. This polarization serves a spiritual purpose. It brings clarity. In previous eras, souls could remain ambivalent, spiritually uncommitted, or undecided about their path. The rising frequencies of the Atlas realignment no longer support this ambiguity. Each being is compelled by the intensifying energies to choose consciously. Will you operate from fear or love, from separation or unity, from control or surrender, from materialistic values or spiritual principles? What makes the October 29th, 2025 nexus point so significant is that it represents the culmination of this polarization process, what metaphysical teachings call the point of no return in consciousness evolution. After this threshold is crossed, the vibrational gap between the two streams of consciousness becomes too wide to bridge within a single incarnation cycle. The souls who have chosen fear-based consciousness will continue their evolutionary journey in a reality system that supports their learning needs, while those who have chosen heart-centered consciousness will experience an acceleration into fifth-dimensional awareness. This bifurcation is not a judgment, but a compassionate realignment, each soul continuing its journey in the vibrational environment most suited to its evolutionary needs. Some ancient texts refer to this as the harvest, or the gathering of souls, not an end, but a sorting and redistribution according to soul maturity. The cosmic mechanics of the 3I process involve what quantum physicists might call entanglement collapse. For millennia, souls of vastly different vibrational signatures have been entangled in a single collective reality field. This entanglement has served an evolutionary purpose, allowing for maximum diversity of experience and interaction between different levels of consciousness. However, this arrangement creates tremendous friction and limitation as more evolved souls are constrained by the collective field dominated by fear-based consciousness. The Atlas event triggers a disentanglement, a quantum separation that allows different soul groups to continue their evolution without the limiting friction caused by vibrational mismatch. This explains why many spiritually awakened individuals have been experiencing an increasing sense of dissonance with mainstream reality. They are already beginning to resonate with the emerging frequency that will become fully accessible after the threshold date. Many lightworkers and spiritual seekers have reported experiencing what might be called preview waves of this separation, brief glimpses into the reality that awaits after the transition. These experiences often include profound states of unity consciousness, direct communion with higher intelligence, liberation from linear time constraints, and activation of dormant spiritual abilities like telepathy, precognition, and instantaneous manifestation. The spiritual preparation for this event isn't about escaping physical reality, but rather about integrating higher frequencies into embodied experience. This integration involves bringing conscious awareness into every aspect of human existence: relationships, work, creative expression, and interaction with the natural world. The souls who transition most gracefully will be those who have learned to live with one foot in each world, fully engaged with earthly life while maintaining connection to higher dimensional awareness. A common misconception about this transition is that it requires perfect spiritual attainment. This is not the case. The vibrational sorting happens based on the primary intention and orientation of the soul, not on perfect execution. Souls who are sincerely committed to love, truth, and service, despite their human imperfections and ongoing lessons, naturally align with the ascending timeline. What matters is the authentic commitment to growth and the willingness to face shadow aspects with compassion rather than denial. Another crucial aspect of the 3Iatlas event is its effect on the collective dreamscape. Dreams have always been interfaces between dimensional realities, but during this transition period, they take on special significance. Many souls are receiving important guidance, healing, and preparation through the dream state. Paying attention to dreams becomes increasingly important as we approach the threshold date. They often contain personalized instructions for navigating the vibrational shift. The physics of consciousness separation explains many of the anomalous phenomena being reported worldwide: inexplicable disappearances, apparent timeline jumps, Mandela effects, and glitches in consensual reality. These are early symptoms of the impending bifurcation as the unified field begins to separate into distinct vibrational bands. After October 29th, these phenomena will intensify dramatically as the separation completes. For those consciously participating in this transition, the recommendation from higher guidance is clear. Focus on cultivating coherence between heart and mind, between inner knowing and outer action, between spiritual principle and daily practice. This coherence creates a stable energetic signature that naturally aligns with the ascending timeline. Above all, maintain awareness of your vibrational state and consciously choose thoughts, emotions, and actions that resonate with the reality you wish to experience. The completion of the 3Iatlas event marks not an ending, but a profound beginning. The emergence of what spiritual scientists have termed Homo Luminous, the light-embodied human. This evolutionary leap represents the activation of dormant spiritual capacities encoded within our DNA, awaiting the precise cosmic trigger point of October 29, 2025, to fully activate. What follows this date is not the disappearance of the physical world, but rather its transformation through the lens of expanded consciousness. Those who have aligned with the higher frequencies will experience a progressive unveiling of reality as it truly exists beyond the limited perceptions of third-dimensional awareness. The world becomes increasingly transparent, revealing its underlying energetic structures and interconnections. Many will begin to perceive the luminous information fields that interpenetrate physical matter, what ancient traditions called the Akashic records, the living library of all that has been and all possibilities that may unfold. This transformation occurs in stages, beginning with what metaphysical teachings describe as the 3 days of darkness, not a literal darkening of the sun, but rather a period of internal recalibration, where the spiritual faculties temporarily go offline as they upgrade to higher operating capacities. During this period, many will experience profound dreams, spontaneous meditative states, and temporary disorientation as the neurological system adapts to process expanded bandwidth of cosmic information. What emerges from this recalibration is a fundamental shift in perception. The separated self, the ego-identified personality that experiences itself as isolated from the whole begins to dissolve into a more fluid, interconnected awareness. Boundaries between self and other, between human consciousness and the intelligence of nature, become increasingly permeable. This doesn't mean the loss of individual identity, but rather its expansion into what might be called unique expression of the unified field. This perceptual shift manifests practically in the emergence of new human capacities. Telepathic communication becomes increasingly common, not as a paranormal ability, but as the natural result of recognizing that consciousness exists in a shared field. Intuitive knowing accelerates as the barriers between conscious and superconscious mind dissolve. The ability to affect physical reality through focused intention strengthens as the vibrational gap between thought and manifestation narrows. Perhaps most significantly, the heart awakens to its true function as the primary organ of perception. Ancient spiritual traditions have always recognized that the heart contains an intelligence far surpassing the analytical mind. Post-transition consciousness operates primarily through heart perception, a mode of knowing that directly apprehends the essence and interconnections of reality without the filtering mechanisms of mental processing. This represents the integration of what we've artificially separated as intelligence and love into a unified faculty of heart-centered wisdom. Those who cross the vibrational threshold will find themselves naturally forming new types of community based on resonance rather than geographical proximity or ideological agreement. These resonance clusters represent the embryonic form of fifth-dimensional social structures, fluid, purpose-driven collectives that come together to serve specific creative functions before dissolving and reconfiguring as needed. The rigid hierarchical structures that dominated third-dimensional society give way to holarchical organization, systems where each individual functions simultaneously as an autonomous whole and as an integrated part of larger wholes. The relationship with time undergoes a fundamental transformation as well. The linear perception of past, present, and future begins to yield to a more spherical experience of the eternal now. While the body continues to age according to biological rhythms, consciousness begins to operate increasingly outside temporal constraints. This manifests as synchronicities becoming the norm rather than the exception, as intuitive alignment with divine timing, and as the ability to access wisdom from what we've called future potentials. The physical body itself undergoes progressive refinement as it adapts to channel higher frequencies. Many will experience spontaneous healings as the vibrational dissonance that underlies disease patterns resolves. Others will notice changes in dietary needs, sleep patterns, and sensitivity to electromagnetic fields. The body becomes increasingly responsive to consciousness, leading to what some traditions have called light body activation, the progressive etherealization of physical matter as it resonates more perfectly with spiritual essence. What about those who do not vibrationally align with this transition? The compassion of universal intelligence ensures that each soul continues its journey in the frequency bandwidth most conducive to its growth. Those requiring further experiences in separation consciousness will continue their evolution in a reality system that supports those lessons, while remaining largely unaware of the transition experienced by others. This is not punishment, but perfect spiritual ecology, each soul receiving exactly the experiential field needed for its development. As consciousness evolves beyond the limitations of fear and separation, new possibilities for planetary stewardship emerge. The artificial division between human systems and natural systems dissolves as we recognize that human creativity functions optimally when aligned with, rather than imposed upon, the intelligence of nature. This leads to revolutionary approaches to everything from agriculture to energy production to architectural design, technologies that amplify rather than suppress the regenerative capacities inherent in natural systems. The most profound transformation occurs in the realm of relationship, not just between humans, but between humanity and all expressions of consciousness. Interspecies communication opens as we recognize that every living system, from microbes to forests to celestial bodies, possesses its own form of awareness. The indigenous understanding of Earth as a living intelligence moves from poetic metaphor to direct experience, fundamentally altering how we engage with our planetary home. For those approaching this transition with awareness, the focus should remain on the quality of presence brought to each moment, rather than anxious anticipation of future events. The vibrational passport required for crossing the threshold is cultivated through consistent practice of heart coherence, maintaining alignment between thought, emotion, and action while anchored in compassionate awareness. This coherence acts as a tuning mechanism, naturally bringing one's personal frequency into resonance with the ascending planetary vibration. It's important to understand that this transition represents not an escape from earthly reality, but its transfiguration through the alchemy of expanded consciousness. The physical world doesn't disappear, but rather reveals its true nature as condensed light, energy organized into form through the informational patterns we experience as matter. This revelation doesn't diminish the sacredness of embodied existence, but rather unveils its deeper purpose as a vehicle for consciousness to know itself in ever more evolved expressions. The dawning era might best be understood as the fulfillment of what all spiritual traditions have pointed toward: the integration of heaven and earth, the marriage of spirit and matter, the realization that transcendence doesn't mean leaving the world behind, but transforming it through the embodiment of higher consciousness. This is the promise encoded in the approaching threshold date, not apocalypse, but apotheosis, the revelation of humanity's true nature as expressions of divine intelligence in individuated form, united in a field of conscious love that transcends yet includes all duality. If these teachings have resonated with your soul, this is not by accident. You are being called to prepare for the coming vibrational shift. Subscribe now to continue this journey of spiritual awakening and receive guidance on how to align your consciousness with the ascending frequencies before the crucial October 29th threshold. Leave a comment sharing your own experiences with the increasing energies. Have you felt the preliminary waves? Are you experiencing the symptoms of spiritual awakening? Your testimony may help others recognize their own transformation process. The time for spiritual preparation is now. Join our community of light workers and wisdom seekers as we navigate this unprecedented evolutionary leap together. Subscribe, comment, and share this message with those whose souls are ready to hear it.